Pokemon investing, vintage versus modern. Which one should you invest into? Today we're back with another Pokemon investing video. I know it's been a while since I made one of these. Last week I wanted to get some other videos out, but now we're back with another one. And this is a big topic that I've seen talked about a lot. Which one should you invest into, vintage or modern? Me personally, I'm kind of going for both right now. As you can see, I'm going for X and Y roaring. These are the ones that I'm really going for personally right now, is X and Y. There's a couple key points that I think that should be talked about before really going to see which one you want to invest in really. So when you're doing modern investing versus vintage investing, I feel like you should really look into what could give you the biggest ROI. And ROI, if you know what that means, it means return on investment. Most of the time, it's basically based off of percentage basis. That's what we're gonna go by here today. It could be the dollar amount too, but basically today's gonna be based on the percentage. So when I say percentage, I say, let's say you invest into a booster box. Let's say you paid $100 for it, and let's say you sold it for $200. That's a 100% return on your money. That's 100% ROI. You buy a booster box for $100. You sell it for $150. It's a 50% return on your money. All right, you get it? All right, now let's kind of see where it can make more sense when I'm talking about modern versus vintage. So what you should look into, which one do you think is going to give you the biggest ROI? Me personally, if I'm going to say it really, I think modern right now. It really depends how far back vintage you go. Like that's why I'm going for like the X and Y era, and I'm not really going for that far back. Because let's say, for instance, I've seen Sun and Moon and kind of generations before that. Boxes are like $2,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 boxes. And it's kind of hard to get. Like, let's say modern is easier to get. I say 100% return on your money. So 100% ROI on your money. But vintage, can a box really go from 7,000 to 14,000? Can it? Yes, it can. We've seen that during the boom, really. But do you think it can really go nowadays? I really highly doubt it. So modern, I feel like is really where you can get the biggest ROI personally, in my opinion. I mean, I see people saying from different stories. And also, those the vintage ones, they aren't printing no more of those sets. So they're still, the ones that are out now are going to be out, supposedly, because I hear a lot of people talking about, like, people are reprinting and stuff like that. But we're not going to talk about this video. Over a long period of time, I feel like it can give you the more consistent, if you're going to be, like, let's say you buy a booster box, it might give you maybe 5 to 7% per year. That's kind of where you might as well invest in the S&P 500 at that point, because that's kind of when it gets there. Maybe 10 or 15, maybe possibly with Pokemon. It really depends the years and stuff like that. Some years are slower than the others. But with modern, you can buy a booster box for like $100. Like this booster box of Paradox Rift is one of the sets that I'm investing into right now personally, and this 151 UPC. So if you buy a booster box of Paradox Rift for, like, let's say I bought this for like $90, I feel like it has more of a chance to go up to $180 to $200, and that would be 100% ROI on my money. But if I buy a booster box for $4,000 or $5,000, do I think I could really get 100% ROI on my money? Probably not. So I feel like if you have, let's say you buy, instead of buying that vintage booster box for $5,000, let's say you bought $5,000 worth of Paradox Rift. I feel like it has more of a chance to go to $10,000 off buying a booster box of Paradox Rift, because you're only going from 90 to 180. You would have a lot more booster boxes of Paradox Rift, like you'd have a lot of them. But I feel like it has more of a chance to double your money, more than if you bought the booster box for $5,000 thinking it's going to go to $10,000. It also really depends on the set too. Of course it does. It does really depend on that. Which one do you think they would really have more of a chance to double up in price? I feel like honestly modern, because it is a cheaper price. You will have to wait a little while longer. I feel like that, like minimum. I keep telling everybody 5 to 7 years typically really would probably be the best, which would be a really good time frame to double your money. So you're looking based on the ROI. I feel like modern is a good deal. Vintage is nice too, but it really depends. You have to pick a right set, really, which ones you think would soar up in value. So you got to make sure you're looking for the right sets. I mean, that's with any investing, really, Pokemon. You got to make sure you're buying the right products if you're going to be buying to invest into, really. Which ones do you think is going to be long-term? Like that's, for instance, why I'm going for Paradox Rift and the UPC, because these two sets I feel like are just worth it, honestly, personally. That's my opinion. I might make a whole other video of products I invest to. So when you're also looking at these modern and vintage investing, you have to see, you're going to have to end up selling it one day if you're going to make your money back or double your money or triple your money. You have to end up selling it. So you have to think, who's going to be the last person that's going to buy it? Who are you more going to be focused on to your customers, really? If you buy vintage, let's say you buy a booster box for $5,000 of vintage, and let's say you sell it for $10,000, who typically really is the person that's going to buy it from you? I don't really see that many people going after $10,000 booster boxes, really. It is a very finite amount of people that you would find. So if you were under, I feel like $1,000 range, under $1,000 is typically where you would find most Pokemon people that want to buy products. Really, is under $1,000. I don't really see the typical average everyday Pokemon person going after more expensive products more than that. Really, it really depends and stuff like that. Some people are different, of course. But speaking of that, I don't really think it's going to happen in the more modern times right now. Really, I don't think it's going to happen. It's going to be a really hard thing to do. I feel like Pokemon's going to go back down to a consistent return on your money. Maybe over the next 5-10 years, it's going to give you a big return. That's what I really believe. That's what I'm looking into with Pokemon, honestly. Is I feel over the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be double, triple, quadruple my money. Honestly, that's my personal opinion. You can do with that as you want. This is not financial advice. I'm just giving you suggestions and what I'm doing with mine. So it's up to you, whatever you want to do. But if you want to buy some Pokemon and just keep it on the side, that's you know what I mean, that's a good thing to do too, because you never know. Especially the prices of these booster boxes nowadays. I feel like there's no way you can't double or triple your money, honestly. These UPCs right here, the 151 UPCs, I've bought maybe at least, I think I have maybe 10 of them by now. I think so, around that 10 or 11 of them. I did make a video of why I think I'm investing into these. If y'all want to check that out, it's my most recent Pokemon investing video. Check it out. I gave some really good reasons and y'all liked it, so thank you. But also, yeah, 151s I'm investing into right now. And also I'm investing in Paradox Rift, which is the current sets, really. I bought a lot of Paradox Rift. I feel like Paradox Rift is going to be a really good set coming down the line, but it just really depends how it does, maybe. I feel like it's a sleeper set. I feel like a lot of the sets nowadays are, especially, I've seen some good sets. That's why but it's just because there's so many people not into Pokemon right now and not that really many people buying Pokemon, and there's a lot of people leaving the hobby. So it's kind of, right now, I feel like is one of the best times to buy Pokemon. I feel like right now is when it was back in like 2003 to 2005. That's when like the EX era and stuff like that came out. That's when Pokemon was dead. That's when, you know what I mean, a lot of people didn't really want to come back in the hobby. But if you look at those sets now, that's where a lot of those sets are really crazy right now. Like, we haven't got to that point yet where it's not really starting to get low printed, everything like that. I heard from sources that Temporal Forces, the newest sets coming after Paldean Fates, is a little underprinted, which, you know what I mean, it could be possible that that set could be one of the ones that go up in the future. But, you know, you never know, because they say that, but then they can reprint it like that. That's the one thing that's bad about Modern right now, is that you can't, like, say, let's example these 151 UPCs. Let's say they put out maybe 300,000-400,000. I'm just giving a number. Then let's say, I mean, they sold out and they're like, oh wow, this is gonna sell. So they're gonna reprint it. That's what a lot of reprints nowadays. That's why a lot of these prices on the Modern, you gotta watch out for. So you gotta at least give it to 5 to 10 years. I think after a year or so after they come out, you can't really reprint them, I'm guessing, or that's what I've kind of heard and kind of how it goes. So really, you gotta make sure which ones are the best for you, you think. That's why I've been buying a lot of Roaring Skies and kind of Sun and Moon area a little bit. Like as you see right here. Like these Roaring Skies, I bought a lot of these, and I got them for a decent price too. That's the main thing too, is you know, watch out, trying to get things for a decent price that you know they're gonna go up. Like for example, I got these UPCs 151s for maybe like 85 to 95 a piece, around there, between like 10 of them. So you mean like that? I feel like there's a good possibility why these can double up, because I got them for a good price, and also they're just 151 UPCs. Everybody's gonna want them. There is a lot of them printed out there right now, so it really depends what's going to happen with that and stuff like that. But if I was you, I would personally try to go for more something that you can kind of afford, really. Kind of, and think you can just hold it, really. Like, don't buy a Pokemon if you're going to know you're going to sell it within the next 1 or 2 years. Because it could be go down even more. You know what I mean? Like that. So you got to watch out for that. There is a potential that it could go up, but you don't want to take that gamble. You might as well just hold on to your cash and just say that. Like they normally say with any type of investing, if you're going to want to invest into something, make sure you have cash that you're going to throw away for at least 5 to 7 years, honestly, personally, that you're not going to need. Or maybe in the short term, really, you mean like that, kind of just, or you can buy a booster box here and there and be like, okay, yeah, this might double up, triple up. It could be something that doubles, triples up. Maybe down the road, it can maybe get you buy this for maybe Paradox Rift for like $1,000, and you can buy it for maybe like $100, and maybe down the road, it could be worth like $1,000. You just never, you know what I mean, like that. Some of these products you don't know, but it could possibly be really good, honestly. Me personally, I'm going into more Modern right now because it's more the cheaper route and stuff like that. And like I said, but main thing with Modern that I just talked about is reprints. You got to watch out with the reprints, because they can be reprinted on a set and print them like crazy. So they overprint them. Like for example, the Charizard UPCs, I do have like 3 of them, I think now. I bought 4. Yeah, I bought 4. I have a couple Charizard UPCs, at least 1 or 2 of them. I'm keeping 1 or 2 of them and investing to long term, because they're starting to go up in price a little bit, and I got them for a good price. So you got to watch out with that. You mean like that? Once you hold things over a certain amount of time, it's going to go up regardless. And the ROI on your money, I feel like, would be better in set that you can get it for a good price, of course that's going to be like that. But like, for example, Roaring Skies, that's a release set that I'm going after right now. Shining Legends possibly too. I got this is my first Shining Legends. I got this for a good price too. So main thing is just finding good things for a good price, because if you go to like Collecticons and game shops and stuff like that, you can find stuff for good deals. Really, it just really depends. Honestly, I've been getting a lot of stuff like online, TikTok. Honestly, that's the TikTok deals. They've stopped TikTok deals a lot. They keep having coupons, but they're not for Pokemon no more. I guess it's kind of messed up a little bit, because that's why I used to get a lot of cheaper products and stuff like that. But you can still find good deals online. You just gotta look for it. Another thing too is just trying to make sure you're finding reliable sources for your products, where you're gonna get them at. But it really depends. Like, I got these on Facebook. One of the Facebook groups, somebody's posting them up. I said, hey, I want these. And they gave me a good deal on them. I think I got these for like maybe 15, 16, 17 bucks a piece, which honestly ain't that bad, really, especially how much these sets are right now. That's what I'm going personally, the X and Y era, stuff like that, because it's not really crazy priced yet, but it's not cheap either. In X and Y, it was before the boom, so they kind of didn't really print as many as they did during the boom. You know, that's like the Chilling Reigns, Silver Tempest, and all that. They printed those like enough because they know where a lot of people. They printed more of them because there's a lot of people more going into those sets and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot more people with demand for it, and of course they're gonna print more because, you know, it's just business. But Modern, you can get Modern for a really good price. You should be fine with it, and just hold on to it. It's cheaper too, so it really depends. Like, if you get them from cheaper, there's more of a possibility that these can go from 90 to like 180. It's double. Modern is more of a chance to double up. Vintage is more of a consistent return, I feel like, personally. Like, let's say I bought these Roaring Skies booster box. I'm not expecting to double, triple on my money like soon or something like that, but maybe long term, yeah, of course. But over the next, maybe like next year, I might get like an average like 10% higher than the S&P 500, of course, which would be best. That's what I'm kind of looking for there. But over the long term, they are going to double and triple possibly. But it's more of a Vintage is more of a consistent going up, I feel like trajectory. But Modern, it still has that, it's still cheaper, that it has the chance to double up and triple up in the next maybe 5 to 10 years possibly, you know, like that. You have more of a chance to double and triple up, I feel like, with Modern. Vintage is more of a consistent trajectory up, you know, like that. So it's, which one do you think would really, and personally, Vintage is a little more expensive, so it's kind of harder to buy for the average day person and stuff like that. Like, a booster box of Roaring Skies goes for like, I think like $700, maybe around there, which is kind of really expensive, honestly. A lot of people can't really just go out there and buy a booster box. But let's say you buy a booster box of 151, or let's say you bought the 151 UPC, and it has a possibility, I bought it for like 80 bucks. I feel like it has a higher possibility to go 160 bucks, which the average day person still could typically buy that if they wanted to. So you have more of a chance of a double up with that. So want to make sure you're going into sets that people are going to want to buy, that they're going to want to buy in the future, that it's like a really popular set. Like, for instance, like this Sun and Moon base set that I have back here, the 2 boxes, those were really cheap. So Sun and Moon, some Sun and Moon isn't really that good, but most of Sun and Moon is good. Like, the base sets, I feel like has a little iffy, you know, that a lot of people don't really go for the base sets typically, besides the very first generations like the Charizard and stuff like that. But they still have a chance to double up and triple up. You just gotta find the right ones that you feel like would go over time, that people would like. Some Pokemon people don't really go after too like much, like the Charizards and stuff like that. Like, the 151 is always gonna give more value, I feel like, because people, that's just one set that everybody knows is 151. Like, people don't know a lot of other ones besides just 151. So you gotta look and see which ones in the future would be more that people would want to go after, instead of just, a lot of people are gonna want Paradox Rift and stuff. So you gotta make sure you're going after sets that people would want to buy and that they're gonna want to look for in the future whenever the prices are going to double up. That would be a big thing. I feel like would be a good thing to go for once you're going looking at Vintage versus Modern. Me personally, I'm going more Modern. I'm trying to, because of how cheap it is, honestly. Modern is just so cheap. I just don't feel like there's no possible way a booster box that's selling for 80 bucks is going to stay at 80 bucks in the future. I just don't feel like that personally that's going to happen. So that's why I'm going for that. But that's me personally investing. Could be wasting my money. These things can go down to 10 bucks, but I highly doubt it. I don't really see a way of that happening in the future, maybe, because there's just so much demand for it right now. Like, it's not even that, it's just going through generations. I've seen there's a lot more kids starting to play it. So when they're getting older, they're going to teach their kids like that. Their kids are going to want to start playing it. So it really depends seeing the next generations after us, seeing them getting into the hobby. The hobby's going to keep on going and growing and growing. So that's what's going to be the real big thing about buying them, is the younger generations. Like these, like for example, the base set, you know, the Charizard and everything like that, is everybody's like, oh my god, like nostalgic for them. But whenever the kids right now are getting older, this Paradox Rift, this 151 UPC is going to be their nostalgic because this is the one that they grew up with, and this is the one that they started out with them. I mean, of course, everybody's going to know the Charizards and stuff like that, but this is going to be like Paradox Rift is going to be one of those sets that people are like, I grew up with that set that I opened up when I was a kid and stuff like that. So it's going to be more of the future, really. I mean, that's the same thing with any set because generations grow up with their set. Like people have certain sets that got them back into Pokemon because people like certain Pokemon. People don't even probably like I like this set, the Roaring Sky set, because they have the Latios, the Groudon, the Rayquaza and stuff like that. That's the set that really got me into Pokemon. So that's why I like the X and Y era so much, because that's the set that makes sense. So it really depends which one sets are going to do good. So you gotta make sure you're looking out for the good sets that people are gonna like and want to buy, really like that. So you know what I mean, like Sun and Moon base. You know, a lot of people do like Sun and Moon base, but there's a very good typical people that don't really like it. So you gotta make sure you're going after the sets that people like and want to buy, or like I don't want to buy and want to spend money on. So it's really up to you personally. I feel like modern is more the way that I'm going personally right now because it's more cheaper. Unless I can get vintage for a good deal, because vintage is expensive. That's what I'm saying. But eventually Paradox Rift is going to be vintage. So you gotta, which sets you feel like is going to go over time, going to be worth the best money, and which ones can your money be the best ROI on it. But I mean, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. I went after some vintage. As you can see, I'm buying it because I really enjoy this set. That like, I'm kind of investing into these right here, but I'm kind of just buying them really. I'm going after more modern because of how cheap it is, and I don't really see it being a way that it doesn't double or triple up because of how low the price is personally on it. And maybe over the next 5-10 years, I feel like my money is going to be a really good value. So you got to do it whatever you think would be the best, really, because it's your money at the end of the day. Don't just buy Pokemon, because I see a lot of people going into Pokemon and then just having to sell out because they have like life and stuff like that happens and stuff like that. I mean, of course, stuff just happens, but you gotta more think which one do you think could you hold on long term? Because if you're gonna buy something long term, regardless if it's modern or vintage, you gotta make sure you're holding on to it at least, I say 5 to 7 years. I try to tell everybody 5 to 10 years, honestly, personally, because it takes a while for things to go up, because you gotta wait for these sets to get out of reprints, wait for them to get out of like printing them, and wait for people to start opening them more because they're so cheaper. Then once they start doing that, then the price can start going up, because Pokemon is more of a demand and stuff like that. So I mean, it really depends whatever you think personally. I'm going after more modern because of how cheaper it is. Let me know down in the comments. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.